Okay. Now, is that generally how you would load down here?
Probably not how I should load.
Well, just because, what was that? That was a repetition, right?
Yeah.
That was a chance to do it right. So even out here when we're just relaxing, that's a perfect opportunity every time. Do it just like you're going to do it so you don't lose that chance.
All right.
You see how you I mean, I'm not even really pushing you. Now look.
No, you're not.
Stand up. Just relax. Just relax. Now go ahead and go like you're going to shoot. You can still lock your arms out just like you were doing. That's how you like to shoot. But when you're shifting your weight all the way like that, you're creating a bend point right here, where your body's going to naturally do that. And as that thing pushes back, boop, 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 you're just going to keep compression. Because that's what we were talking about earlier. Out here shooting, you can do that all day long, and you're going to keep hitting. But when you got to do that boop, boop, you got to get that second, third, fourth, or fifth shot to actually stop somebody from trying to hurt you, you need that solid platform. So you can shift your weight forward, but don't kick your butt out. You were doing good. You were on your toes. So shift your weight forward. Just lean forward. I'm just shifting forward. I'm not bending forward. You get pretty good grip. The only thing, do you notice that the bottom of your trigger finger is actually rubbing the bottom of the trigger guard?
I didn't notice that. I wasn't even paying attention to where it was. Just.
So a lot of people talk about trigger finger placement as far as it relates to the front of your finger. That's important, relatively speaking, but it's probably more important that your finger is isolated from touching any other thing, because that creates drag, and that drag creates inconsistency, and that's what's going to cause those kind of, when everything else is right, and you're really digging deep into the the science of what you're doing, you don't want any other physical interference. You want it literally just pushing the trigger. Some people with bigger fingers too, if you overhook it, that meat tends to come over and it catches on this inside edge. You ever heard of it's really with Glocks, it's like a left drag with Glocks, people who shoot low and left.
Yeah,
some people
familiar.
That's because that trigger, the way that trigger guard is, that inside fingers creating that drag to that direction. So I just noticed it when it wasn't bad. But start thinking as you start to bring your skill level up higher, when you've got everything else pretty much right, it's those little things that start to create that difference.
Yeah, it wasn't even.
But your grip was good. I mean, if I was going to really tweak your grip, you had a good grip, but you want to exaggerate that pronation forward. Like you had it good, and that's probably a slightly big gun for your hand size, so you're already dealing with that. But you had good thumbs forward, but I could see some separation right here in this spot. So ideally, you'd want to be able to bring that back, but that's probably more a function of that grip size. But no, overall good. But and I didn't know if I noticed you do that. I've watched your videos. I've watched you shoot today, and I noticed that you're just very, very hunched over, and that's just, it's gonna work when you're doing slow shooting stuff like this. But when you really try to get on a target, you can start to feel yourself losing your stability. So
let's see if I can remember all that.
So just kick this. Just stand up. Just stand like we were having a conversation. So we were just talking. All right, and I'm just sitting here talking to you, and I'm going to shoot. All I'm really going to do is I'm just going to kick that foot back, again, to take some of that recoil, and I'm just leaning my weight forward. You're going to have a slight bend in your knees, but I'm not bending over. Don't put your chest over, and obviously being a female, it's a bigger issue for you because you have more weight, and it's going to want to pull your body forward. So you actually have to kind of use that almost like a counterbalance so that this all stays pretty much straight. I don't care really what you do from here down. It's everything up here is really controlling shooting, because you can stand here on one leg and fire all day long. It's everything that's happening up there. So when you shift that weight forward, now I'm not straight. Something has to counter that forward momentum. And if that you get out of sequence with that gun, then you have that tendency to want to lean forward. Much better. Now you notice you've got this arm locked out and this arm still kind of bent, kind of like you were shooting. Your body's in more of a typical isosceles position, but your arms are in more of a weaver position, because
I'm left dominant, so I'm always
okay. So you're pulling it over.
Yeah.
Can you get lock both arms out, like overextend them out? Now you were probably taught keep this in line with your arm. All right. You obviously can't do that because you have the center is here. If you were shooting weaver, then that would be correct, because now your center would be here and you would be breaking it here. So if both of these arms are centered, the gun has to come out of center of this grip. That's why a lot of people who have guns that are too big for their hand tend to prefer to shoot more of an isosceles body structure, because they're not trying to torque that big old gun around where their finger can't reach the trigger. So something to consider when you break that grip. As long as you, when you're sizing yourself, put your finger on the trigger and then build your grip backwards. When you got a new gun or something like that, because it doesn't matter how you set the rest of your grip, if you can't pull the trigger, it's not going to work. So it's just something to think about when you're shooting a bigger gun like that. That's got a bigger grip for you.
Let me try and implement that. Is that better?
Yep.
That does seem easier to control.
And if that gun was sized for you properly, then you would be meeting here and you would have 100% coverage on that gun, and it wouldn't buck quite as much as it does. You could literally drive into it more.
That's actually the most accurate I have shot this gun ever. Thanks, guys. This is Brannon LeBouf from Null Attack Trainings. If you haven't checked him out, stop by his website. I appreciate his advice.
Not a problem.
Anyway.